There is absolutely no bigger World Cup group stage night than the one we just witnessed. Seriously, last night might go down as the greatest group stage night in World Cup history. And don't try telling me the World Cup started a week ago. No, the World Cup 2026 officially began last night. Everything before this felt like the warm-up. The appetizers were being served. We were getting little previews, small teasers, and glimpses of what was coming. But last night? Last night the main course finally arrived. And when it arrived, wow! If you missed the action between 12:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., which is completely understandable because most people actually have lives and jobs unlike some of us football addicts, then let me tell you something. You missed absolutely everything. You know how much football you missed? About as much as Gonzalo Higuain missed in the 2014 World Cup. That's the level we're talking about. The chances, the drama, the moments that had everyone screaming at their screens, it was insanity from start to finish. And it all began with Kylian Mbappé and France putting on an absolute masterclass. They reminded the entire world why they're considered favorites. Not because somebody gave them that label, but because they have the quality to prove it on the biggest stage. Mbappé looked like a man on a mission. A man saying, "This isn't just another tournament. This is the World Cup, and I'm here to chase greatness." That was the message he delivered to everyone watching. Then, just when you thought things couldn't get any better, the spotlight shifted to Erling Haaland, and Haaland showed the world exactly what carrying a team looks like. He demonstrated why so many people believe he could become the greatest pure number 9 the game has ever seen. I'm saying it right now. Remember these words, because what we witnessed was special. And after watching Mbappé and Haaland put on those performances, I honestly thought to myself, what more can Lionel Messi possibly do? The man is 38 years old, almost 39, approaching 40. At this stage, you're just supposed to appreciate him while he's still around. Enjoy the moments, celebrate the greatness. After all, he's the GOAT. But Messi had other plans. He looked at Mbappé, he looked at Haaland, and then he basically said, "Very nice, boys." Impressive. Cute, even. Haaland, World Cup debut? That's adorable. Mbappé, another brilliant performance? Good job. Now sit back and watch how it's really done. Because that's exactly what happened. And honestly, I don't even know where to begin. I started streaming around 11 p.m. I finished close to 8:40 in the morning. That's nearly an entire night of football. Yet somehow I'm still sitting here with this much energy. Why? Because of what we witnessed. Because nights like this remind you why you fell in love with football in the first place. Even after watching football for 10 or 11 straight hours, the football fan inside me isn't exhausted. It's the complete opposite. I'm more excited than ever. Because this was the greatest World Cup group stage night I have ever seen. I genuinely don't think you can create a better sequence of matches than what we got. 3 incredible games. One after another, pure entertainment. And before we break down every match in detail later, I want to say something. Honestly, the way this World Cup is unfolding right now, with the shocking upsets, the superstar performances, and all the incredible storylines developing across the tournament, football itself is delivering in a huge way. Forget the debates about commercialization. Forget the discussions about money, marketing, preparation, or politics. Just focus on the football. Because the football has been phenomenal. And if things continue at this pace, we could be watching the greatest World Cup ever. This isn't only the final chapter for legends like Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Neymar. It's also the beginning of a new era, the first World Cup dance of players like Haaland, and the next generation of stars. It's the stage where Mbappe continues building his legacy and proving why so many believe he can reach the very top of football history. And this tournament feels like it's becoming something much bigger than anyone expected. Everything is coming together at once in this World Cup, and that's exactly what makes this tournament so special. But the night began with France versus Senegal, a match that honestly was never supposed to look this one-sided. If you're only looking at the final scoreline, you're not seeing the full story, because that score does not accurately reflect how this game played out. Senegal are a serious team, a very serious team. Many people considered them one of the dark horses of this tournament, a side capable of reaching the quarterfinals, maybe even the semifinals, and if everything went perfectly, possibly even the final itself. The confidence around Senegal wasn't random either. Their performances before the World Cup, especially during their preparation matches and recent tournaments, convinced a lot of people that this team was the real deal. And because of that, many fans viewed this game as a true test for France. And honestly, they weren't wrong. The first half showed exactly what Senegal are capable of. They completely disrupted France's rhythm. Their defensive structure was outstanding. They spent most of the half operating in a disciplined 4-1-4-1 shape, pressing aggressively when opportunities appeared, and then immediately dropping back into a compact block whenever necessary. Their organization was excellent. Whenever France tried building through midfield, Senegal crowded the central areas and cut passing lanes everywhere. Michael Olise struggled to receive the ball in dangerous positions. Players were constantly forced to drift wide or drop deeper just to get touches. France's attackers couldn't occupy the spaces they normally dominate. And while talking about it, I almost called them PSG players for a second. After 10 straight hours of football, your brain starts making strange connections. But the point remains the same. France simply couldn't find solutions during that first half. Even Kylian Mbappé was having an unusually difficult time. His touches weren't clean, the timing wasn't there, and Ousmane Dembélé honestly looked frustratingly inconsistent throughout large parts of the game. As all of this was unfolding, one thought started creeping into everyone's mind. Could Senegal actually pull off one of the biggest upsets of the tournament? Were they really about to do it? Then the second half arrived, and everything changed. Senegal came out with confidence. Maybe a little too much confidence. After the first 45 minutes, they genuinely felt they had been the better side. They had created more danger. They had looked more threatening, and France had managed only a single shot during the entire first half. They weren't connecting with Mbappé. They weren't finding Olise in the right areas. Nothing seemed to be clicking, so Senegal decided this was their moment. Instead of continuing with the disciplined defensive structure that had worked so well, they chose to attack more aggressively. They opened the game up. The compact midfield block that had frustrated France suddenly disappeared. They shifted into a more attacking shape, pushing forward and creating larger spaces between the lines. And the moment those spaces appeared, Michael Olise came alive. And let me tell you something, Michael Olise was the best player on the pitch last night. That man is pure magic. The way he's playing this season has been extraordinary. If France go on to win this World Cup, his Ballon d'Or case is going to become impossible to ignore. His influence on games is unbelievable. Now, Mbappe is operating on a completely different storyline. What he showed last night was terrifying. The finishing, the movement, the leadership, the confidence, everything. I'm telling you right now, he's chasing a place among the greatest World Cup players ever. He's on a path that could eventually take him beyond the numbers of legends like Miroslav Klose, and potentially even challenge records that once seemed untouchable. Maybe not in this tournament, maybe in the next one, or the one after that. But he's coming, and if he adds another World Cup trophy to everything he already has, the conversation becomes very different. The goals he scored last night were ridiculous. That strike from outside the box, the intelligent movement for the opening goal after being found by Michael Olise, the way he responded after a disappointing first half, the way he carried himself as a leader. That's the scary part, because this French team is exactly what everyone warned us about before the tournament started. A team packed with talent. A team capable of destroying opponents the moment you lose concentration. And they showed it. They absolutely showed it. What makes them even more frightening is the depth. Bradley Barcola came off the bench and immediately started causing chaos. Every time he got the ball, Senegal's defense looked uncomfortable. He stretched the game, he attacked spaces, he created problems everywhere. And honestly, if not for a couple of excellent defensive interventions from Senegal and some desperate last-ditch defending, France could have scored even more goals before the final whistle. There were a few moments where Senegal managed to break past France's fullbacks, but overall, France simply had too much quality. They dealt with almost every situation brilliantly. Whenever something slipped through defensively, Mike Maignan was there to clean it up. And personally, I think this French side justified every bit of hype people had been building around them. What a performance. What a statement. France looked outstanding. They look like a team that is genuinely coming for this trophy. And when the match ended, I honestly thought Kylian Mbappé had probably just delivered the performance of the tournament so far, at least on match day one. That's how good he was. But then we moved on to the very next game, Norway versus Iraq. And suddenly Erling Haaland reminded everyone exactly who he is. Listen carefully when I say this. Erling Haaland's international goal-scoring numbers for Norway are unlike anything football has ever seen. His goal ratio, his scoring consistency, his production at international level. No player in football history has maintained numbers like that for their national team. Nobody, not even close. The amount of goals Haaland has scored for Norway, combined with how frequently he scores them, is genuinely ridiculous. It feels like he finds the net every single time he puts on that shirt, and somehow he keeps doing it over and over again. What impressed me wasn't only the goals he scored last night. Of course, the finishing was excellent. Of course, the striker instincts were there, but Norway as a team genuinely surprised me, because after watching them, one thing became very clear. This is a defensively vulnerable side. They rely heavily on their attack, and more specifically, they rely heavily on Erling Haaland. But that's also what makes them dangerous. That second goal perfectly showed why. The way Haaland pressed the goalkeeper, won possession, and turned the situation into a goal was terrifying. It revealed just how dangerous both he and this Norway team can be. Because Haaland wasn't only scoring, he was dropping deep to help defensively. He was contributing in midfield. His touches during transitions were smooth and controlled. He was linking play. He was creating outlets. He was everywhere. He's fast. He's powerful. He's technically better than people give him credit for. But above everything else, his pressing might be his greatest weapon. And last night, watching him do it over and over again was genuinely intimidating. Just imagine seeing a player built like Haaland charging directly at you at full speed. It's basically like watching a truck move at sports car pace. Most defenders would panic. And that's exactly what kept happening. The entire Iraqi backline looked uncomfortable every time he started closing them down. Again and again and again. At some point, you stop blaming the defenders. Haaland is simply that good. And if I'm being honest, the entire attacking unit deserves credit. Antonio Nusa on one side, the attackers around Haaland, even the supporting players who weren't grabbing headlines. Everyone contributed. Martin Odegaard was everywhere in midfield, constantly working, constantly moving, constantly connecting the team, up and down the pitch for the entire game. And that's what stood out to me most. This team understands its identity. Every player knows how to work within a system built around Haaland's strengths. People have been calling Norway dark horses for a reason. And honestly, if their defense can hold up, they could absolutely surprise a lot of teams in this tournament. Because when it comes to attacking football, they have something most countries don't. Yes, they depend heavily on one man. But that one man almost never lets them down, especially in international football. Time after time, Haaland delivers. And another thing that makes Norway dangerous is the type of football they can play. They don't always need possession. They don't always need to dominate territory. They're comfortable attacking quickly. They're comfortable hitting teams on the counter. They can punish you when you push too far forward. And that's where Haaland becomes even more dangerous. His pace, his movement, his ability to attack open space. Those qualities make him absolutely perfect for that style of play. So overall, I think this Norway team is moving in the right direction. The attack is operating exactly as intended. The only real concern remains the defensive side of things, because even Iraq managed to create several difficult moments for them throughout the match. To be fair, Iraq caused Norway quite a few problems as well. Their striker, and especially that young left winger wearing number 17, were causing real issues throughout the game. Defensively, Norway looked vulnerable at times. But that's the trade-off with this team. They sacrificed some defensive security in exchange for having an explosive attack. And after watching Mbappe score a brace and Haaland put on a show, I was sitting there thinking, all right. Mbappe was incredible. Haaland was incredible. What a night. And then all I wanted was a little Messi magic. Maybe one goal, maybe one special moment, just enough to complete the night. Instead, Messi decided to remind the entire football world why he's still the standard. Why all these younger superstars are still chasing the level he set years ago. When they were growing up, Messi was already the best player in the world. The entire system revolves around maximizing Haaland's impact. But Argentina are different, because with Messi, you almost don't need to build everything around him. Of course, the team supports him. Of course, they work for him. But Messi feels inevitable regardless. Even if everything isn't designed specifically for him, he still finds a way to take over the game. He'll drop deeper. He'll sit behind the attacking line. He'll help construct attacks. He'll receive the ball 30 yards from goal. And before anyone can react, he'll unleash a shot from outside the box. That's exactly what happened. Defenders could do nothing about it. The goalkeeper could do nothing about it. Because at the end of the day, you're facing Lionel Messi. And when Lionel Messi decides it's his night, there isn't much anyone can do. What makes it even crazier is that this was only his first match of the tournament, and already he was matching records and adding yet another chapter to an international career that somehow keeps getting more unbelievable. He matched Miroslav Klose's World Cup record and is now tied among the highest scorers in World Cup history. And the craziest part? He did it with a hat trick in his very first match of the tournament. But that's not even the whole story. The reason I'm praising Argentina's performance so much is because it wasn't just about Messi's goals. Defensively, Argentina were outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. What a performance from Emiliano Martinez. What a game from Lisandro Martinez. Cristian Romero was excellent. The entire backline looked composed and in control. Then you move into midfield, and Alexis Mac Allister seemed to be everywhere at once. Rodrigo de Paul covered that right side relentlessly. Honestly, one of the best De Paul performances I've personally seen, especially when it comes to pure effort and work rate. But there's something else I want to mention, and it's probably the biggest reason why Messi is still capable of producing performances like this at his age. Lionel Messi no longer carries the weight he used to. For most of his international career, every tournament came with enormous pressure. The expectation was always the same. You have to win it for Argentina. You have to deliver the trophy. You have to carry the nation. That burden followed him everywhere. But the moment Argentina finally won the World Cup, something changed, that weight disappeared, and honestly, that's the terrifying part. Think about it for a second. You're talking about the greatest player the sport has ever seen. Now imagine that player competing without pressure, without doubt, without the constant burden hanging over his shoulders. That's scary. That's genuinely frightening, because now he's playing completely free. This is the version of Messi that opponents should be worried about. This is the version that makes Argentina such a dangerous team in this tournament. Whether they get knocked out in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, or go all the way, I genuinely don't know. But I know one thing. I want to watch every minute of Messi's journey. Because right now, he's playing with complete freedom. He's taking risks, he's attempting difficult shots, he's trying things that other players wouldn't even consider. And what impresses me most is that he's still contributing everywhere on the pitch. Even at this age, even after everything he's accomplished, he's still tracking back, he's still helping defensively, he's still putting in the work. Think about that. At this stage of his career, at this age, and then people wonder why comparisons become difficult. People complain that this player doesn't track back, that player doesn't defend, another player doesn't put in enough effort. Meanwhile, Messi is still doing all of it, and that's why I genuinely believe this was the greatest World Cup night I've ever watched, ever. I'm so happy I stayed awake for it. Seriously. Maybe listening to this right now, you think I'm exaggerating. Maybe it sounds like an overreaction. But trust me, it's not. I survived the entire night on coffee, caffeine, and pure football excitement, and every second of it was worth it. Every single second. What a night, what a performance. And Messi, I absolutely loved watching that. I truly did. What an incredible night of football. And if you missed it, honestly, I'm sorry. I really am. I know people have work, I know people have responsibilities, but trust me when I say this. No highlight package can fully capture what those 12 hours felt like. No recap video, no short clip, no compilation. You had to experience it live. That's the only way to understand it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and until next time, goodbye.